All right, guys, here we go. The second one for the NFC East. We got the Commanders and Giants today. Two teams that are on different trends right now over the last two seasons, but maybe there's hope. Maybe there's hope in New York. Why? Let's take a look. Here we go. All right, guys, here we go. Let's open up with this. Daniel Jones has been officially tabbed the week one starter for the Indianapolis Colts. Twitter is absolutely abuzz. Why do I keep calling it Twitter? Because it's buzzing with a bunch of fans that are absolutely losing their minds. So I'm going to comment on that for just a second before we get into the training camp video. Very simply, I've said it all offseason. Richardson has the potential. But if you don't think that he is preparing correctly, if you don't think he's dialed in mentally, if you're unsure about his health when it comes down to it, you're not going to risk it for the first couple weeks. And the only time, and I thought about this, and I haven't brought this up, the only time that Richardson has done good and actually done good in games is after being benched and embarrassed. He's full of himself, selfish and prideful, young kid that thinks he deserves everything, and he just lost the quarterback competition to a much more professional Daniel Jones. I'm not saying that Daniel Jones is the best option at quarterback. I'm saying he lost most likely on professionalism. Everything that Shane said leads me to believe the weekly prep, AR still struggles at locking in and actually preparing correctly. When you watch the games, Daniel Jones, the play that the Colts fans like, he missed the wide open tight end. Here's the thing. The tight end is actually going to be talked to in the tight end room when they look at that film. He stopped running. This is going to happen sometimes. Tyler Warren slowed down, trying to sit in a little bit of a box like you would have to do in college with a weak arm quarterback. Not all quarterbacks can throw the ball really far. We know this. We watch college football. He slowed down instead of a full sprint. Jones threw the ball for him to be sprinting through it to a touchdown spot. The way AR plays, he did miss the wide open wheel route created, the pass was completed to Gold against the number ones of the Packer defense. That's an intercepted football. That's a dumb throw into double coverage. Dumb. So let's just pump the brakes on the clips and everything that we're seeing. Jones has the dump down ability. He threw a gorgeous wheel route pass to Tyler Warren. He's got the dump down, check down to Downs and Taylor options. Probably that just worked better than AR. Do I think AR still has more potential? Absolutely. Do I think he's going to start sometime during the season? Absolutely. But we'll see how that plays out. All right, let's jump into it. Here we go. Let's start with the Commanders. So, a team that last year took everyone by storm, everyone by surprise. They're not going to do that this year. But I do like the moves they've made. Deebo Samuel, Laramie Tunzel. They brought in Javon Kinlaw on the defensive side of the ball, on the defensive line. Rumor has it Brian Robinson is potentially on his way out. I could think of 3 teams that could use a running back of his caliber right now, probably more as the second back, but I think he definitely has a market because there's a lot of teams that are still kind of floating with the running back position. But this year, I believe, is going to be a really big year for Cliff Kingsbury, Dan Quinn, full offseason of watching what Jayden Daniels does. Here's why I don't think they will have a fall off. Number 1, Jayden Daniels is accurate. Accuracy is not faked. You don't fake accuracy. Teams may be able to cover differently. Teams may be able to figure out what he likes to do, but you can't fake accuracy. And you can't fake being able to check the ball down to Zach Ertz, Robinson, Eckler, whoever it is. The offense, I do not think, will take a step backwards. If anything, I think they will remain the same with the additions of Deebo Samuel and Laramie Tunzel. Defensively, Dan Quinn, remember, these were the cardiac commanders last year under Dan Quinn. And defensively, they have one of the best linebacking cores there is. Frankie Luvu, Bobby Wagner, Von Miller. Yes, they're aged. But everything about Dan Quinn's defense is all about awareness. Everything about what he does is all about knowing where the next play is going to go. Having a sense of football. Frankie Luvu was absolutely amazing. And don't forget, he timed the tush push multiple times, but Philadelphia, the way they're playing. The only rule, and I've said this in the offseason, the only rule, just like a quarterback kneel, the only rule that I want for the tush push is you're not hard counting that play. If you're going to line up for the tush push, you're doing it and you're not hard snapping it. When you go, you go. That's it. That's the only rule I've ever wanted. Because you're taking away the defenses, especially in that scenario, you're taking away something that the defense can't fully actually play against legally because of how the play is. Jalen Hurts works with the tush push because he's so small. Let's be very clear. He works with the tush push because he's so small behind the bigger offensive lineman. Josh Allen has a harder time because he's bigger. You hit him earlier. Okay? It's just that simple. So it's a perfect storm. I don't want it banned for any, by any means. But that game against the Commanders showed me, they have to be told you can't hard count. You cannot hard count. Because all the defense is on the other side, and you're basically forfeiting your position as defense. I don't like it, but we're going to see what happens this year, and maybe there's some defensive coordinators that figured it out. Maybe Dan Quinn figured it out. We'll find out. Their first 6 games of the year, they have nothing new to really have to work in, so they're going to be ready to rock and roll. Same coaching staff. So here's how they look for the first 6 weeks. They got the Giants opening up at home. They got at Green Bay, home against the Raiders, at the Falcons, at the Chargers, and home against the Bears on Monday Night Football, the rematch of the dreaded Hail Mary. And you know what? I love how that lines up for them. I think they can go 5-1. They may even be able to go 6-0. The games that I would really watch out for are Green Bay and probably the Chargers. I don't know if the Falcons will be ready defensively to play the Commanders yet or not in week 4. I'm not sure if they're ready for that type of offense. But I love how this year sets up. They've got a couple stretches here. They got week 8, 9, and 10 are the Chiefs, the Seahawks, the Lions. Those are, 3-game stretch back to back to back. And then probably how they close the year. Philly, Dallas, Philly. You play Philly twice within 3 weeks. And that could be for the division. It easily could be for the division. Do not be surprised heading into week 16 if the Commanders and Eagles are the exact same record. Do not be surprised. You guys know I am very high on the Commanders. I love what the new ownership group does. I love Dan Quinn as a coach. Cliff Kingsbury as an offensive coordinator, not head coach, works much better. And I think this is a long-term success plan. And I think they will have success. I do not see a sophomore slump. I don't see a huge drop in everything. And looking at the salary cap, they got $16.9 million right now. They got about $13 million in dead cap. They've got $57 million, number 4, in cap space available next year. Okay. Now, I do not do the big number. Remember, I told you guys when we were doing the snapshots, I do the effective cap space, not the general cap space. They got $57 million in cap space for 2026. Now, success, make the playoffs. Ultimate success, win the division. Just start stacking playoff runs on top of each other. Last year was kind of a Cinderella run. Nobody knew who you were. Not going to be the case this year. All right, the Giants. The Giants we're going to go work backwards. They only have $8 million in cap space for next year right now. $8 million in cap space. They have currently $27 million this year dead cap, which means they only have $4 million in cap space this year. They can't make a bunch of moves. They really can't. And they have the number 1 strength of schedule. And I kind of feel bad. I do believe I would not fire him. If Jackson Dart looks the part, I would not fire Brian Daboll. I would fire Joe Schoen in a heartbeat. I would not fire Brian Daboll. I wouldn't. But when you look at this schedule, this is rough. This is rough. Open up at Washington, at Dallas, home against Kansas City, home against the Chargers. At New Orleans, week 5. Home against Philly, week 6. Just in those first 6 weeks, it depends on Dallas. Remember I told you they could split with Dallas. I'm going to give the Giants the end of the year game at home in December against the Texas team, not the beginning of the year game. So I'm going to give the Giants a 1-5 start to the season. If Russell Wilson goes 1-5 to start the year, I would say let him play the hard games. And here's what I mean by that. The next 2 games after that Philly game are Denver and Philly again. Let Russell Wilson get destroyed. When you're 1-7 heading into week 9, start Jackson Dart against San Francisco, Chicago, Green Bay, Detroit, New England. And then you've got a bye week before your last 4 games to be able to give kind of a reset to Jackson Dart. I would start him week 9. You then come back from your bye week in week 14 with the Commanders, Vikings, Raiders, Cowboys. You could take 2 of those last 4 games, and if he can get wins over San Francisco and Chicago, you can end up with a quarterback from week 9 getting you 4 wins. That wouldn't be bad. You end up 5-11 on the year, but your rookie quarterback plays pretty good. I like how Jackson Dart looks. I think he's got potential, and I like what he does. If you go 5-11 as the Giants with the number 1 strength of schedule, and Jackson Dart has 4 of those wins, and you don't have to draft a quarterback in the next draft, I think closing the year out in the final 8 games, going 4-4, should save Daboll his job. I do not believe he should get fired. If Jackson Dart looks good, If the team is competitive on the field when they kick Russell Wilson to the side, I believe Dable should keep his job, fire Joe Schoen, get another general manager in there, and then work to build it, because this team has a couple of weaknesses. You don't like necessarily the roster as a whole from top to bottom, but the linebacking core is really, really, really good. They run a 34. Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, Bobby Okereke, Micah McFadden. The linebacking core is good. Really good. Now, they only have Malik Neighbors as a receiver, Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson. Don't get me started. Okay. Jalen Hyatt hasn't really shown up. But with Jackson Dart, Theo Johnson, Daniel Bellinger, I think the tight ends will be big. They've got a good running back room with Tracy, Singletary, Scattaboo. I like the way this team is set up. The secondary is not horrible. They got Phillips, Banks, Holland, Nubbin, and Adebo. It's not horrible. So this team is not bankrupt of talent, nor is it bankrupt of the ability to play football. I would absolutely move off of certain players, potentially in the middle of the year. See what you have in some of your backup offensive linemen. A Greg Van Roten, a Jermaine Elimumor. You can trade both of them near the deadline to teams that need offensive line help. Open up some cap space for the future. See what you've got in the offensive linemen behind you. I think there's definite possibilities with this team. I don't think it's going to be easy. I definitely don't. But I do think that the Giants can really have a big year. If they go 5-11 and Dart goes 4-4, and they close it out that way, I think we will look back on 2025 as a big year for them. Jackson Dart has had Lane Kiffin and now Brian Dable. He's good. It's set up for success. And it's absolutely huge. And I like this team. Success, I think it is 5 wins. I think success with this schedule is 5 wins. Failure is only 2. I know it's the number 1 schedule, but failure is only 2, and the Jackson Dart project doesn't work at all. That's really what I'm thinking. And it's that simple. Unfortunately. And that's it for the NFC East. We got one more division to go. It's Tuesday night, heading into Wednesday, middle of the week. Get through Wednesday, and we are only 2 days away from real football being played on Saturday. College football, I will definitely be watching 1,000%. So, super pumped. I love it. Football is back. All right, so we got the AFC West is left. Plenty of controversy in it. I know it's going to be interesting. I can't wait for it. So, here we go, guys. That is going to be it for me today. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your Tuesday evening. Make it the best Wednesday you can, and I will talk to you guys on Wednesday night with the first AFC West training camp preview. Thank you so much for hanging out. As always, I deeply appreciate it. And until next time, for Sports Talk with Hawk, I am Hawk, and I'm out. Have a good night.